together and built this, and even any countries that are space ready, I guess you might call them, launching satellites and different stuff like that. I mean, this, a month or a little bit over a month ago, they had those 2 satellites that collided and created all that debris and everything. And for a while, I think they're launching next week, but the mission to repair the Hubble was in jeopardy because they weren't sure if it was going to be safe enough and everything with all that debris, because that's the area that the debris is in and everything. And if debris hits the space shuttle, you're in big trouble there.
Yeah.
And those 2 satellites and everything. I mean, one of them, I'm pretty sure the Russian one, wasn't even in use. So it was just space junk that someone decided, well, we don't need it anymore. Let's just drop it and go. I think these countries need to come together and decide that in order for you to be able to put a satellite up there, you need to have some way to get it out of there. And, have rockets that send it into the Earth's atmosphere and everything. Because, at some point in the next, 10, 20 years, there's no doubt that we're going to have to sit down and say, hey, we can't get to Mars anymore because we've got all this debris around us. And, that's definitely a serious problem. And I'm worried for all of us, that we're going to lock ourselves into our own planet.
Yeah, let's clean up space, guys.
Yeah, let's get some tree huggers out there. And
that's on the Tech Knight's agenda. Let's clean up space.
Yeah, I'll go to space for that with my little stick thing that picks up trash.
I'm going Virgin 1 space exploration device for tourists. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, Virgin, send us up there. We'll clean up space.
Yes. Community service.
Yeah, I need to do some community. But absolutely, it's definitely something they need to look into.
Cool.
Okay, ready to move on to the next story, which is mine. Got a new iPod Shuffle this week. It's 4 gigs for $80. So aside
doesn't
from
sound like a bad price. $80 for 4 gigs.
Since it's an Apple product, no, but would you pay $80 for some other company, no matter how good the build quality was, their MP3 player? Come on, 4 gigs.
Probably not.
It's not that much. But think about it. Okay. It's got no buttons on it. So,
cool.
Maybe.
It's like a lighter.
It's kind of interesting. The Apple war on buttons because, all this different stuff and
shuffles. All previous shuffles, I believe, have all had buttons on the player itself.
Yeah, they had a really basic thing. What's interesting now is like when you buy it, I think when you buy it, it actually comes with a little diagram that has to tell you what each button on the because the way you control it is there's buttons on the headset. On the earbuds. On the wire there. And they have to tell you before. You could pick up a shuffle and you knew exactly what to do with it. And with this, they have to tell you. So I really like. I was reading something. They said it kind of seems like Apple. We're so interested in finding out if they could do something that they forgot to ask themselves if they should do it. And it seems like one of those situations where this is something that they should not have done. I think they could have made so much more money just keeping with the shuffle that they have, upgrading the capacity if they felt that was needed. There's no doubt. The last gen shuffle, I guess now, was a great device, and it's really disappointing that they had to go in this direction, and it'd be interesting to see how
sales pan out.
How sales and if they decide to keep with the same design or the whole no button thing and the next generation thing. But aside from that, there's so many times where Apple's headphones aren't necessarily known for their build quality and all this different stuff. So your earbuds go out, suddenly you can't use the device at all, no matter how many earbuds you have. So you have to buy special headphones for it, and I know they've got third-party ones coming out now that were announced, but still to require something like this, I would have been fine if they had just left it all clean and flush and just put buttons on the side or something that were real low and everything. So I think there were other alternatives, but I guess it probably started before the iPhone, but with the iPhone where it really only had one main button and all this stuff, definitely.
This is where I disagree with Apple. My motto is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't mess around with it. Don't even think about it. Let it be. Apple, they're like George Lucas. They're always messing with something.
Star Wars. Yeah. I mean, one other feature I want to mention just real quick is they've got it in there called VoiceOver, which it's kind of interesting. I kind of wonder why they couldn't integrate this in before, or just release the old shuffle with this new VoiceOver feature. And basically, you press and hold the center buttons and on the headphone, and it'll tell you the title, hear the title and the artist of the song playing.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
interesting.
I mean, it's that's a really cool feature. It's probably the best thing about the new one. But I would still like to. I mean, if I was gonna buy a shuffle, I would rather buy the last gen shuffle with the VoiceOver feature.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that integrated in some other situations too, because there's so many times where you're doing something and be like, someone walk up and be like, hey, what song is that? And you're like, I have no idea, and I have to pull out my my G1 and turn on the Shazam and wait 30 seconds for it to record, and then hope that it knows. And I mean, they should have integrated this into the old line and just kept the old one. I think everyone would have been happy, and they could have saved a lot of R&D money.
Here's my 2 cents on this. I think it's important. Well, if it's broke, you don't fix it. That's a good model. But this is Apple, right? Apple innovates. That's how they stay ahead of everybody. That's how they invented the iPod. That's how they invented the first Macintosh computer. That's how they invented the iPhone. That's how they invent everything. They need to innovate. They need to experiment. They need to figure out what works and doesn't work. Now, if you look at the iPod that came out this year, it's great. It's probably it's definitely the best iPod that's been made yet. But if you look at the iPod that was made the previous year before that, that thing wasn't that great. It was clunky. It was bigger, but it had a bigger screen. And what they were able to do from that is come up with the iPod they had this year with the screen that's supposed to be the same size, right? Mm-hmm. The iPod Nano. So, the way I look at it, Apple's just experimenting. They can afford to experiment too, because this is the iPod Shuffle. It's not their biggest selling brand. For what it is kind of cool. Like, it's a slim little lighter box type of deal. You know, it doesn't have any buttons. You can just hold it. It's a cool design. You don't see anything. There's nothing much like this market right now, right? So I will say the biggest drawback is that you have to have the earphones to change the song settings and that kind of stuff. I think there maybe could have been something else that did that. Like maybe you shuffle it, like literally you shake it and it changes to the next song or something else. I don't know.
Maybe well, I mean, they've already got that in the minis.
The new iPod Nanos?
Nanos, yeah, that's not minis. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I mean, why couldn't they integrate this? I guess it automatically does that kind of, when you hit next, it shuffles. You can set it to shuffle or just to play track by track.
Yeah, but I was just I haven't bought one of these. I haven't played with one yet. But just looking at the design, that's pretty slick. Like, there are no buttons on this thing, and it's supposed to be really small and silver. It's basically like a lighter, right? It's a cool accessory.
Looks like a thumb drive without a USB tip. So
another problem I have with it, smaller isn't always better. Because imagine how many people are going to lose these things because they're so small.
I'm sorry. I guess if you can afford to lose it, you'll lose it. But if people who work hard and they want a small, little, cool device, they're gonna keep track of it. They're gonna make sure they don't drop in the laundry. They're gonna make sure they can keep track of it. Or they're gonna try harder.
But I mean,
at least.
think about it. This I know some people that their kids, they want iPods and like all this different stuff, and exactly. so they go out and get them the shuffle, because that's the cheapest one. And I mean, I don't know. I just think, it would have been a lot better long term. Because who knows? It would kind of suck. A few years down the road, if they decide to abandon this and then everyone stops selling the headphones and you've got your iPod Shuffle and you can't buy headphones because you can't listen to it because the headphones are broken and nobody makes them anymore.
Yeah. All right. This is gonna be my last thing about this article. Good try, Apple. But ultimately this product is just gonna probably be like more of a test, and it's gonna be a lot like the 3rd generation iPod Nano. The next one that comes out, in the next year will be different, and the problems will be fixed that people see with this and the earbuds. So.
Yeah. Just go back to the old one. I'd be happy.
Yeah.
With that voiceover feature, because that voiceover feature probably is what makes it.
Okay, cool. So let's close up news for the week. Let's close up the folder, and let's go on to an old feature we're bringing back, the tried and true pick of the week.
Yeah, it's retro. And Darren's going to be picking up our pick of the week this week.
Okay, so we're bringing back the pick of the week, and I'll be heading up that for this week, and I'm recommending Smart.fm. Smart.fm is a language learning resource website where you can go and learn any language that you want.